12 papers, sir.
12. Okay.
12.
But only probably 9, 8 have come.
8
8,
has come.
9. Yeah, they are joining.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Professor Bishwajit Ghosh, the eminent professor, Department of Sociology, University of Burdwan, would chair this session. Are the paper presenters ready? Please unmute your microphone. Dr. Tapan Kumar Rai. Dr. Tapan Kumar Rai, am I audible? Hello.
I don't think Tapan Kumar Rai has joined.
Well, Professor Shimonti Chattopadhyay.
No, she has also not come.
Okay. Next, Dr. Jayashree Rai. Probably she is also absent. Dr. Boishali Majumdar, Jyoti Dotto, Mr. Ovik Gui, well, Mr. Shoikat Chatterjee.
Yes, I'm present, sir.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
please introduce yourself in 30 seconds, and then with the permission of Sir, Professor Bishwajit Ghosh, please start your deliberation. Please, Mr. Chatterjee.
Okay, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Sir, I am Shoikat Chatterjee. I'm a student of Mass Communication, the University of Burdwan. So, can I start my paper now, sir?
Please take permission from Professor Bishwajit Ghosh.
no, yes, no permission is needed.
Okay, then please, Shoikat, please start.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, honorable chairpersons. So my paper is about the trend of fake news amid the COVID-19 pandemic through the social media. On social media's journey to connect the world, it's often unable to focus on the spreading of fake news. In this paper, I mainly focused on Twitter and Facebook. Now, social media's goal must be to help people to see the complete picture, not just the alternate perspectives. Now, amid this pandemic, accuracy of information is very important. From 24th March till now, there are many fake news that were floating around the Facebook and Twitter. Many of them resulted casualties, like US President's tweet about the COVID-19 vaccine drug hydroxychloroquine causes so many deaths across United States because people and health persons started to using the drug on patients, on the COVID victims, believing that the tweet of their president is so accurate and true, but the reality is far beyond the truth. Many cases and many case studies are in this paper that will help us to understand that not only the ordinary people but the public figures also are spreading fake news knowingly or unknowingly. They trapped into the web of fake news. Like Amitabh Bachchan on Twitter once posted during this period, this COVID period on Twitter, he posted on Twitter a picture of Indian map which is glowing at night, where the other countries beside is dark. He said that India glows when India comes together and lightened diyas. This was the event where Prime Minister Narendra Modi asked the countrymen to candle diyas and went outside to the balcony and show their gratitude to the countrymen. This event. Now, social media became a medium where the low tone messages gets amplified many times. Amitabh Bachchan himself know that the picture is photoshopped. He just uploaded it in a satire tone. But people get serious with that picture. Some critique Amitabh Bachchan that he shouldn't post that. Why could a public figure post this in a social media? But people like us, ordinary people, believed that picture. They started to share this. They started to share that picture on social media, telling this is India, oh how cute this is, how glorious this is. Now the low tone message are get amplified many times in a free society. It's important that people have the power to share their opinion even if they are wrong. But this is also true that there is not always a clear line between hoaxes, satire, and opinion. So in our paper, we discussed about the thin line, how to recognize the news, what to believe, what to not believe in this COVID period. Thank you, sir. I'm done.
Great.
Thank you,
Great.
Shoykat.
Yeah, thank you, Shankar. Yeah, please call the next person.
Shruti Bhanjo, madam.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Hello?
Yes, you are
Hello.
audible.
Okay, okay. So, sir, can I start? Hello?
Sure. Start.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. Sir, I am Shruti Bhanju, MA student, 4th semester of Satyapura College of Education, WBU TTEPN, West Bengal. So, we know that we are going through a miserable situation. The pandemic disturbing the society and economies at their root. So today my topic of presentation is the role of civil society during COVID pandemic of Mahasthala municipality. The aspect of civil society in COVID pandemic that civil society has played a significant role in this helpless situation and created enough awareness and publicity in this municipality area. Community kitchens were set up in some wards of municipality to provide food security for daily laborers and beggars. Not only that, social activities like blood donation camps were also organized in lockdown. Systematically, every area of ward has been sanitized at the initiative of civil society. And some dry food items such as biscuits, etc., were also provided by the civil society during this pandemic situation. Even 22 community kitchen had been set up among 35 wards of the municipality area. Civil society has been campaigning to keep safe the local vegetable market from overcrowding during the lockdown. Arranged immediate hospitalization for non-COVID patients also. We know that the non-COVID patients here are suffering in medical treatment. The civil society has given due respect to all the patients who have come home after recovering from COVID-19. That's all said. I am done because my paper is so small, which I presented.
No, even though it is small, it is beautiful because it is informative. I will come back to your paper at the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Shruti
you, sir.
Bhanjo. Next paper presenter, Orpita Pal. Are you there, madam? Orpita Pal. Manashi Pandit is the next paper presenter.
স্যার এক মিনিট, এটা সেকশন 4 হচ্ছে তো?
Session 4.
হ্যাঁ স্যার, আমার নামটা দেখুন না, কৃষ্ণা বর্মন আছেন কিনা?
কৃষ্ণা বর্মন সেশন 4 এ তো নেই ম্যাডাম।
আমার যেটা পাঠানো হয়েছে আমাকে সেশন 4 এ দেখানো হয়েছে, আমার কাছে লিস্টটাও রয়েছে।
একটু স্যারের সাথে প্রফেসর বিশ্বজিৎ ঘোষের সাথে কথা বলে নি আমরা। স্যার কি করব আমরা?
বুঝতে পারছি না, আমাকে পাঠানো হয়েছে আমার সেশন 4
ঠিক আছে এখানেই হবে। ঠিক আছে, আপনি পরে দেখে নিন, একদম লাস্টে ইনপুট করে দেবেন। ঠিক আছে,
ঠিক।
আমি কি একবার সেশন 3 তে ট্রাই করব তাহলে?
একবার আপনি দেখে আসুন, না হলে আপনি এখানে আসবেন। ঠিক
আচ্ছা
আছে?
তাহলে একটু আচ্ছা ঠিক
হ্যাঁ।
আছে স্যার, ঠিক আছে, থ্যাংক ইউ।
সুতনু পাল চৌধুরী, আপনি কি আছেন? সুতনু পাল চৌধুরী স্যার, কেউই তো নেই। মনে হচ্ছে এটা কোনো মিসকমিউনিকেশন হয়েছে, অন্য প্যারালাল সেশনে চলে গেছেন।
স্যার কবিতা হাজরার নাম কি আছে? ডক্টর কবিতা হাজরা, আসানসোল গার্লস কলেজ। আমার তো সেশন পড়েছিল।
না, আপনার তো সেশন ফোরের নাম নেই ম্যাডাম।
আমারও তো ছিল, লিস্টটা যেটা পাঠানো হয়েছে সেখানে তাই ছিল।
হ্যাঁ হ্যালো।
So,
হ্যাঁ হ্যালো।
yes.
হ্যাঁ স্যার, আমার তো ডক্টর সত্যপ্রিয় বেহরা, আমার তো ফোর্থ সেশনে ছিল, কিন্তু আমি তো পাচ্ছি না।
So, Prashanjit, I can
আমার যেখানে পাঠানো হয়েছে মেল, সেখানে ফোর সেশন 4 বিশ্বজিৎ ঘোষ, ডক্টর বিশ্বজিৎ ঘোষ।
so anyway, let's allow these two persons to present the paper since we have taught it.
ওকে,
Okay, let's allow what's the name? The first person, Shotopriya, and the other person who spoke earlier. Okay.
ওকে, myself ডক্টর সত্যপ্রিয় বেহরা।
Okay, you speak later after.
আই এম টেকিং ডাউন, নোটিং ডাউন ইউর নেম।
স্যার হোয়াট শুড আই ডু? আমি কি করব তাহলে?
আপনার ম্যাডাম নামটা যেন কি?
ডক্টর কবিতা হাজরা।
স্যার কি করবে?
হ্যাঁ, এখানে এক্ষুনি ডেকে নিন কবিতা হাজরাকে।
হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে। KABITA, কে
হ্যাঁ, কে কে বিআইটি।
HAZRA, তাই তো?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ।
ঠিক আছে। মিস্টার সত্যপ্রিয় বেহেরা।
ইয়েস স্যার।
সত্যপ্রিয় বেহেরা, হ্যাঁ
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
স্যার, আপনার পেপার প্রেজেন্ট করুন।
Okay, I'm doing. So, respected chairperson of this session, myself Dr. Satyapriya Behra. My topic is the coronavirus infectious disease, that is COVID-19. It's a pandemic and update scenario on cases in India. So, only for that is the time I allotted for 5 minutes, not more than that. That is why I am going to share only the objectives, concept, then this is the prevention measures for coronavirus and total number of reports in India in the scenario. Okay, so just I am highlighting the coronavirus entire world is currently facing COVID-19 pandemic disease that is caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus SARS-CoV-2. This is a new virus and disease were unknown before the outbreak began in Wuhan, China. This disease is characterized by fever, dry cough, and chest pain with pneumonia in severe cases affecting many people in the countries globally. Therefore, the WHO has declared COVID-19 is a pandemic. So, coronavirus disease is the RNA virus. The total number of cases today I have reported, not reflected in my abstract, but today I am going to reflect the total number of cases that is on July 1st July. The total active cases is 2,20,140 and cured were discharged, that is 3,47,978, and deaths is 17,400 and one is migrated. So that means as per the report of Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, ICMR, and ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, has reported that total number of cases, total number of sample tested up to June 30, 2020, that is 88,26,585, and sample tested on June 30 today, that is 2,17,931. So my objectives of this paper, this is the database paper. So that's my objectives is how that is consciousness about the pandemic disease, or that is the coronavirus disease among the people, and how to mark the symptoms of COVID-19 disease in the day-to-day life of the people through testings as recommended by ICMR and the government and the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. And now, next object, what are the provisions for prevention measures of COVID-19 disease in India as per guidelines by the WHO? So that means what are the provisions made? First is
হ্যালো
yes,
প্রসেনজিৎ স্যার আছেন?
hello.
হ্যালো
So I am speaking now. I am delivering my PPT. Okay, sir. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Yes, I'm continuing.
Yeah,
What are
continue.
okay, sir. Now,
Yes,
what are the
yes.
okay, sir? What are the provisions, common provisions measures? So that means clean. So as per the guidelines, so that means clean your hands frequently, either by washing them with soap and water. So for at least 20 seconds, or using an alcohol base with at least 60% alcohol base, hand sanitizer when the hands are not visually dirty. Then another prevention is to protect yourself and others. You should always wash your hands after using the toilet, after handling plates or their waste, before, during or after cooking, before eating and setting the table, after singing or coughing, or last but not last, wash your hands as frequently as possible as when you are sick or
Hello.
caring for the sick. Okay, sir.
হ্যালো
Hello.
প্রসেনজিৎ স্যার স্যার আছেন? বিশ্বজিৎ স্যার আছেন?
হ্যাঁ আছি।
বলছি স্যার আপনি একটু কাইন্ডলি বলুন, বা আমি বলছি যে 3 নাম্বার সেশনে যারা ছিল তারা 4-এ হয়ে গেছে, 4 নাম্বার সেশনে যারা ছিল তারা 3-এ হয়েছে। স্যার
So we have already accepted.
হ্যাঁ বলছি হ্যাঁ
আমি সৌমেন চক্রবর্তী বলছি।
3 নাম্বার সেশনে যারা ছিল তারা 4 হয়েছে, আর 4 যারা ছিল তারা 3 হয়ে গেছে।
ঠিক আছে, আমরা 4-এর সেশনের সত্যপ্রিয় বেহারাকে অলরেডি নিয়ে নিয়েছি।
ঠিক আছে ঠিক আছে
I'm continuing, sir.
ঠিক আছে ঠিক আছে ওকে 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 স্যার
কবিতা চলে যাবে অন্য সেশনে, ঠিক আছে?
ঠিক আছে ঠিক আছে একটু বলে দিন যে 3 কে 4, 4 কে 3। ওকে ওকে
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
ওকে
হ্যালো স্যার, লিস্টটা ডাকলে ভালো।
Okay, sir. I will continue.
হ্যাঁ ওকে ওকে
Okay, next one.
আচ্ছা
is-
সঞ্জীব স্যার
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, Shatyapriya, have you finished?
No, sir. I have 3 or 4 points.
No, just conclude.
Okay. I'm concluding. Okay. Next one is avoid touching your eyes, nose, or mouth with your hands, and avoid being in direct contact with people that sneeze or cough. Try to maintain a distance about 6 feet between you and them. Then, lastly, I'm telling that is, if you are sick, stay at home as much as possible. And in my opinion, also that is recommended. Every organization, NGOs, stay safe, stay at home. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Behera. You were
Yes, sir.
in fact in session number 3, but we have included you. Now, may I request Prasenjit to call the next person? Hello, Prasenjit or Srikanto is there? No, they are not there. Okay, let me now invite Orpita Paul. Orpita Paul is there? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir, I'm-
Prasenjit is back.
Okay,
Prasenjit is back.
Call the next person.
Well,
Okay.
Yes,
Hello? Hello,
calling,
sir. Hello.
Yes, I have noted down
Hello,
your
sir.
name. Shruti
Sir, I'm
Bhanjo.
Shruti Bhanjo, sir. I have
Yes.
finished. I have
Okay,
completed
okay.
my
There is
presentation.
no
so-
problem at all. I have noted down your name. There is no problem at all. Okay.
Those who have already.
স্যার ডক্টর তপন রায় মেলটা তো ভালো বুঝতে পারছেন। ডক্টর
Tapan
তপন
Kumar
রায়
Rai, please wait.
Okay.
After
Those
Dr.
who
Kavita Hazra, your turn will come. Okay.
Those who have presented their paper, stay here, don't leave, because your names are included here in this panel, okay? Now,
Exactly.
Prasenjit, please
Yes, sir.
call the next
I am calling Dr. Kavita Hazra. Dr. Kobita Hajra.
Mr. Hajra, there is a change. Shubhruto came in between. Prasenjit, you are not there. There is a mistake committed by the organizing committee. The enlisted candidates of panel 3 should come here,
Yeah,
and enlisted
yeah.
candidates of panel 4 should go to panel 3.
Dr.
So there
Tapan
is-
Kumar. Yes,
So
sir. Please.
you call by our first names that you called earlier. You begin with number 1 again.
Dr. Tapan Kumar Rai.
Yes, sir.
Doc-
Yes.
Yes. Please start your deliberation, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My topic is the problem faced by the migrant workers during the COVID-19 pandemic in India. The government of India declared COVID-19 as a national disaster and imposed complete national lockdown to contain the spread of outbreak and suspended transportation and all economic activities and services. This brought turmoil in the lives of millions who are primarily involved in the informal sector. They lost their livelihood overnight and got stranded in different pockets. The International Labour Organization predicted that due to the pandemic and the lockdown, about 400 million workers would be poverty stricken. Most migrants in the country originate from Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, followed by Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, West Bengal, Odisha. The cities of Mumbai and Delhi attract the highest number of migrants. Migrant workers majorly comprise of daily wages laborers working in the manufacturing and construction industries. They are often denied adequate health care, nutrition, housing and sanitation. Since many of them work in the informal sector, they are mostly from rural areas but live in
Madam Jyoti Dotto, why you have muted Professor Tapan Kumar Rai? Madam Jyoti Dotto, why
Hello.
you have muted Professor Tapan Kumar Rai? Please
Additionally,
don't
there
do
was
such
no
things.
central registry of migrant workers despite the existence of the Interstate Migrant Workmen Act 1979. The beginning of the past was hardly concerned with migrant migration and livelihood during the colonial India. All the major Indian cities like Kolkata, Mumbai, Chennai, and many other urban places recently suffered from influenza, smallpox, plague, malaria, and cholera. In 1994, a major epidemic of plague broke out in Western India with epicenter Surat. There was a huge exodus of migrant population from the industrial city of Surat. When migrants flee from the city, they not only lose their livelihood, but they may carry the infections to their native places. In the period of epidemic of HIV/AIDS, which broke during 1980s in various parts of the world, migrants are greatly stigmatized as a carrier of the disease and considered to be a population risk. They have obliterated the great contribution of migrants in economic growth, innovation, skill development, and entrepreneurship in building cities and a nation. Others get migration. The rural people forced to migrate to more developed areas due to their abject poverty and inability of adequate employment opportunity or lack of livelihood options in the locality. Besides, lack of interest in agriculture and exploring employment opportunities in the area
বলছে এখন ফোন করো না, হ্যাঁ?
or trade center matching to the aspiration
Hello?
or the motivational
হ্যালো,
factor.
হ্যাঁ ফোন করো না, আমার নেক্সট আমার প্রেজেন্ট।
Someone presenting internal migration for the youth month.
I am interrupting. It's my humble request to all the paper presenter, the faculty, the researcher. Just mute your audio and video. The honorable paper presenter like here, Mr. Tapan Kumar Roy, when anyone, he or she will present his or her paper, he or she try to unmute audio and video. Except paper presenter, no one try to unmute his her audio and visual. Please, Jyoti Dotto, please mute your video. Shimantini madam, please mute your audio. Thank you. Jyoti Dotto, please mute your video switch. Jyoti Dotto, please mute your video switch. Thank you. Sir, you may Continue.
problem faced by the migrant workers during the lockdown. In a globalized world, the lockdown is likely to bring unprecedented breakdown of our economic and social systems. Migrants are most vulnerable to urban disaster and epidemics. The first case of COVID-19 surfaced in India on January 30, 2020, and following the outbreak of the lockdown, the entire country was announced on 24th March for a period of 21 days initially. Borders were sealed, transportation got stopped, factories, shops, restaurants of all types of economic activities were shut, bearing only the essential services. This proved to be a nightmare for hundreds of thousands of migrant workers who lost their livelihoods overnight and became homeless. The immediate challenges faced by the migrant workers were related to food, shelter, loss of wages, fear of getting infected, and anxiety. As a result, thousands of them started fleeing from various cities to their native places. Many migrants lost their lives either due to hardship on the way, hunger, accidents, or comorbidity, and some even committed suicide. Sudden lockdown also stranded many migrants in different cities of the country. Those who were traveling were stuck up at stations or state or district borders. Many are forced to walk hundreds of miles on foot to reach their home villages, finding no public transport. Those who had reached their native places were
Just 1 minute left. Just 1 minute left. You just
complete of the infection were killed by the policies and the native villagers. The government taken some measure to mitigate the effect of the lockdown on the vulnerable groups. The government of India on 26 March 2020 announced a rupees of 1.7 lakh for package under the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana. It has within its ambit health workers, farmers, NGNREGA workers, economically vulnerable categories, especially women, elderly and unorganized sector. Minister of Home Affairs also asked the landlords not to charge rent during this crisis. States were allowed to utilize money from the state disaster relief fund to provide food, accommodation, and medical care to homeless, including migrant workers, stranded due to lockdown and shelter in relief camps or other places.
Okay, Mr. Rai, your time is over. Just finish.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you very much, Mr. Rai, for presenting a nice paper. Prashant, please call the other person.
Yes, sir. Professor Shimantini Chattopadhyay,
Yes, sir.
Professor-
Yes, sir. I'm present.
please start your deliberation.
Yeah, just a second. I'd like to share my PPT with the audience. Just 1 minute. I hope everybody can see my slides.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody.
Yeah. A very good afternoon to respected moderators, my fellow presenters, and other participants. Without wasting any time, I would like to start my paper titled Tackling the Water Challenges in Indian Cities Amid COVID-19. Now, let's focus on some data observations. It has been found out that nearly 66% of population resides in rural areas, but COVID-19 cases are majorly reported in few cities. Also, 51% positive cases and over 53% deaths were from just 5 cities, namely Maharashtra, Delhi, Chennai, Ahmedabad, and Thane. And also, it has been observed that the pandemic has disproportionately hurt urban population based on the proportion of basic services they enjoy. Now, as we all know, that to fight COVID-19, one of the most basic and important recommendations of WHO is hand hygiene, that is frequent hand washing with water and soap. But sadly, significant proportion of urban people, especially the most disadvantaged section, have very little access to water. So basic hand washing remains out of their reach, thus increasing the spread of the disease further. Okay, now let's see the account of water supply in urban India in present situation. According to 2011 census data, 70% of the households have access to tap water, of which only 62% have access to treated water. Nearly two-thirds of households do not have access to water within their homes, and 8% of households need to fetch water from more than 100 meters away from their households. The duration of water supply in Indian cities is only 1 to 6 hours on an average. And as compared to the service benchmark of 135 liters per capita per day, cities receive only 69 liters per capita per day. Also, a study on Mumbai shows 46% of households use 95% of the supplied water, whereas rest of the 54%, basically the slum dwellers, use only 5% of the same. Recent Niti Aayog report has published that water demand in the country will water supply by 2030, and 21 cities including Chennai, Delhi, Bangalore could run out of water in 2020. In another study, the slum dwellers of Dharavi in Mumbai pay 25 rupees for a gallon of water, and they could afford to buy water once a week only. So frequent washing of hands is a luxury that they could ill afford. Moreover, the quality of water supplied in cities is majorly poor due to leakage in the public water supply, unhygienic treatment and storage of privately available waters, and contaminated groundwater due to domestic sewage and industrial effluents. Now, given such water deficit and all other constraints that just stated previously, especially in the slums, effectuating hand washing advice and maintaining social distancing are distant possibilities. So more and more people are at the risk of getting infected by the COVID-19. Now, to address this emergent issue, the government needs to come up with some immediate as well as long-term planning, as it will be discussed in the following slides. Now, in the short term or in an immediate basis, the government agencies need to collaborate with the existing network of private service providers, NGOs, and community leaders to enhance service delivery in terms of door-to-door supply of water. And there can be allocation of funds and granting full autonomy to the city governments to allocate funds further to the levels of resident welfare associations and ward committees to reduce the gap between some demand and supply of water. More and more hand washing facilities with soap and water, which has already started in few cities, should be installed in public location on an immediate basis. These are few strategies that can be adopted on an immediate basis, but in the long run, I plan to focus on 10 takeaways or 10-point agenda on which we need to rethink and reinvent the existing framework. To start with, to deal with the first point states that I would like to stress on the groundwater problem. Now, to deal with excessive dependence on groundwater, a well-defined urban aquifer management is needed. Now, with respect to the recycling and reusing wastewater, decentralized water management should be there to cater to the most vulnerable section. And then also the government can restore, protect, and recharge the existing water bodies, and to encourage rainwater harvesting at each and every building of the city city level. Now, the fourth point, in the fourth point, I would like to say that the government need to reduce the industrial water footprint by adopting comprehensive water audits, cost-effective water technologies, and by levying charges for water use and incentives for water conservation. Then also, in the long-term basis, the investment, there should be adequate investment, which is lacking right now, to build the infrastructure to ensure the clean water for all the citizens of the country. Now, the 6-1 states that the institution that is there, that is already existing institutions, those institutions can be strengthened further to reduce the fragmentation of roles and responsibilities of the stakeholders, thus that can, so that it can encourage or increase their accountability and transparency towards what they're being assigned to. Now, the 7-point elaborates that the city level government should be endowed with more skilled staff to ensure smooth functioning, because right now most of the city level government are actually affected by the unskilled labor. They don't have much skilled laborers, much skilled staff, and they don't have enough staff to run the function smoothly. Now, the 8-point states that to improve the weak recovery cost of the water supply, there can be something called increasing block tariff that can be levied. Actually, it is the rate of which actually starts increasing after a certain minimum level of free or highly subsidized water. And also, the 9-point states that there is a sedentary bias in urban policy and program which needs domicile status for the beneficiaries. This is a major problem for the migrant laborers because most of the time they fail to fulfill this mandate, and as a result they are left out of the purview of the policies related to the access of water and other basic services. And lastly, we all know that the census, being a stock concept, fails to capture the dynamic migration flows, leaving them outside the periphery of basic service delivery. This needs to be taken care of in the long run to fight with a pandemic like COVID-19, which makes the migratory lot more and more vulnerable. And now to conclude, on one hand, the COVID-19 is further exacerbating the existing water crisis in the country, and on the other hand, it has reinforced the critical need for access to safe and assured water supply for all, as described by the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals for preventing rapid transmission of diseases. But in reality, it can be conceived as an opportunity to seize the moment to move forward even more ambitious government initiatives to expand access to water services to all across the country and fight this pandemic disease in a better way. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shivanti, for raising a quite viable and an issue which probably normally in any kind of discussion doesn't keep up. We will come back to this issue later on at the end.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, Prashanjit, who is the next?
Dr. Joyashree Rai.
Yes, sir. I want
Please.
to share my PPT. Yes, sir.
Please start your
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
deliveration.
Yes, sir. Just 1 minute. This is visible, sir? My PPT? Sir, my PPT is visible, sir? Hello?
Not yet, madam.
Not yet.
Hmm.
Sir.
Go to option present now. It will
Okay.
help you. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Professor Das, Professor Ghosh, and Professor Chattopadhyay. I am Dr. Joyashree Roy, Assistant Professor of Vidyasagar Teachers Training College. Today, I am going to present my paper. My topic of the paper is the COVID-19 impact on tourism industry. Our world is still coming at terms with the sudden outbreak of COVID-19, and industries are grappling with the consequence of the economic slowdown. The impact of the novel coronavirus of India's hospitality sector, the nothing short of severe, while most economists expect things to rebound the later half of the year. Uncertainty still lurks. The impact of the COVID-19 on travel, tourism, aviation, and hospitality is rather steep to stay at last. The tourism economy has been heavily hit by the coronavirus pandemic, and measures introduced to contain its spread. Stay at home. 3 words that have grounded holiday plans the world over the novel coronavirus pandemic raises. The multi-billion dollar tourism sector, a growth engine in many economies, thousands of its workers from top executives to ticketing staff, housekeeping personnel, guides and hawkers at tourist spots face an existential crisis. Objectives to find out overview the tourism industry, to find out the impact assessment. Methodology based on the current knowledge such as different newspaper, television, social media, etc. etc. Role of travel and tourism in India. In 2018, travel and tourism contributed 9.2% in India's GDP and generated 26.7 million jobs in that year. This industry not only employs workers in cities but also provides an earning base for the rural population. The tourism sector accounts for 12.75% of employment in India. 5.56% of it is direct and 7.19% is indirect. Over 87 million people were employed in the travel sector in 2018 to 2019 in India, according to the Ministry of Tourism Annual Report 2019 to 2020. It is estimated that in India, branded and organized hotels' annual revenue is 38 crore. The restaurant industry in India has an annual turnover of approximate 4 lakhs crore. This industry provides direct employment to more than 7 million people. India's air transport industry employs over 4 lakhs people directly and 94 lakhs are employed in the related supply chains. Effects of coronavirus on travel and tourism in India. On account of coronavirus in India, tourism and hospitality industry is expecting a potential jobless of around 38 million. In the third week of March 2020 itself, the hotel sector saw a decline of more than 65% in occupancy level of compared to the same period in 2019. With international and domestic travel on hold, demand for turbine fuel has sustainably declined. Indian Association of Tour Operators estimates that hotel, aviation and travel sector together may suffer a loss of around 85 billion, keeping in mind the travel restriction imposed on foreign tourists. Impact of COVID-19 would be felt on both white and blue collar jobs. India's overbound and inbound travel will witness an all-time low. The restaurant industry in India expecting almost zero revenue in the immediate term and a drop of 50% of the months to come. At least 30% of hotel and hospitality industry revenue could be impacted if the situation does not improve by the end of the June 2020. There is a trend of jobless of nearly 15% in the hotel and in the restaurant industry once the lockdown is lifted, as they will not see an immediate surge in demand. Aviation industry in India could incur the losses worth 27 crore in first quarter 2020 to 2021. The passengers growth of airlines is likely to fall sharply to a negative growth for the 2020 to 2021. Next, things to know. The tourism sector was already facing some trouble before the rise of COVID-19 pandemic due to impact of the global economic slowdown. Economic growth in the world declared in the 2019 to 2020, resulting in weaker growth in foreign tourist arrival and foreign exchange earnings from the tourism in India. With more than 60% of organized hotel in India shut, recovery should be expected gradually. Recovery plans. As per the point above, we are thus sharing the gradual or the fact slow recovery scenario of the tourism industry in India. However, the important thing to focus on it is their hope to recovery after all. For the recovery of the sector, few things have been proposed by leaders in the industry. Experts have emphasized on the need to focus on the potential of domestic tourism and try to gain some profit through it. ICC suggests setting up a travel and tourism stabilization fund with direct benefit transferred to each unit to prevent financial and jobless. The experts have also recommended cost optimization at all operational levels. It is also being recommended to utilize the
Just 1 minute left.
Okay, sir. I conclude. To stop the economic pandemic, we cannot start by doing our little bit. Maybe something as small, the promising to focus on domestic travel post COVID-19. Spending a reasonable amount on domestic travel every couple of months may not hurt the pupil, but it will go a long way in the feeding back the industry affords in very charm of our nation. Otithi Devo Bhavo. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Joyashree, for presenting a nice paper.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Prosenjit may call the next person. Prosenjit? Hello.
Dr. Boishali Majumdar. Your turn is now. Dr. Boishali Majumdar.
Yes, sir.
Please.
Hello.
Please start your presentation.
Thank you, sir. Respected chairperson and all the dignitaries present in the webinar, myself, Dr. Boishali Majumdar, Kuchbehar Pancharan Burma University. The topic of my paper is socio-psychological issues of COVID-19 and the role of yoga as a remedy. The human race is passing through a critical juncture as the novel coronavirus disease, COVID-19, is outbreak throughout the world, and we are bound to restrict our movements anywhere for becoming infected with COVID-19. The 2019 coronavirus disease COVID-19 has been declared an international public health emergency on January 30, 2020 by the World Health Organization, WHO. The only way to control and defeat the disease is to make people follow social distancing. For this objective, the entire country has brought under lockdown. The unpredictable spreading of the infectious disease increases the universal anxiety, panic, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD in the mind of the people. These changings are the natural psychological responses as affirmed by WHO. We are informed of the disease from everywhere like newspapers, TV channels, social media, etc. As a consequence, a mass hysteria and panic about the pandemic causes psychological problems in the people, which affects in the mental health of the people in its long run than the infection of the virus itself. Prior studies declared that the people are heavily affected by this kind of global pandemic. There are various possible ways by which the pandemic COVID-19 affects on the world's mental health. Not only the psychological issues raised from the disease, the sociological problems are also affected the mankind. Now, at first, we can evaluate the sociological issues and then we will discuss the psychological problems arises from COVID-19. We will also discuss about the practical applicability of yoga by which we can strengthen our body, mind and the senses. Social reflection in lieu of COVID-19. There are important social changes has taken place due to the present pandemic situation. Many people became temporarily or even permanently unemployed during this pandemic session due to an insufficient workload or some other reasons at their working place. Unemployment is also responsible for the crisis of their mental health. We find also the migrant laborers who are not able to earn money during this period and unfortunately they are forced to return at their home and now they are all economically weak and simultaneously unemployed. The societal disruptions such as poverty, crime increases day by day. The people who belong to the lower socio-economic condition, they suffer mostly during this period. The socially disadvantaged people, the homeless people are deprived of their needs and their health conditions would be risky at this situation. India is such a country where a large number of homeless populations might face unique challenges while fighting against COVID-19. The COVID-19 controlling measures like home confinement, self-hygiene, social distancing would not strictly maintained by these homeless people. On the other hand, another societal problem arose basically in upper middle class society. The neighbors react adversely if someone has a travel history of other country, then they can suggest to their neighbors to get themselves tested for COVID-19 or to rest in self-isolation. Instead of that, such individuals misunderstood and misbehaved or getting into a fight with their neighbors. Misconduct and harassment are also reported against the doctors and health workers, stockpiling of daily essentials at the lockdown period and storage of the material in the grocery. That was another societal problem which creates disharmony and jealousy among the people. Moreover, the daily wage workers are seriously threatened by this period. They will need immediate concrete help in terms of both food and money. This is the critical period when everyone has to stretch their helping hand for the needy people, because as the responsible citizen, we have to perform the duties as like. At this socio-economic breakdown situation, the central and the state workers, state government should stand firmly behind the indigent people. Psychological reflections. This COVID-19 not only physically harmful but also affects on our psychology as well as our mental health. The mass quarantine, nationwide lockdown programs can produce mass panic, hysteria, anxiety, distress. Due to economic problem, the essential needs become insufficient among the people. That also affects on mental stress. Financial losses give much stress on mental health of a family. Vague information circulated by the media, the early stage of the pandemic produces much fear and anxiety in the minds of the people. Previously,
It was reported that the psychological effects of quarantine may vary on the people, like anger, confusion, frustration, anxiety, loneliness, depression, and even suicide. Another point is that people who are infected by COVID-19, specifically the children, have the possibility to become insecure, and the fear, anxiety will pop up in their mind that in the long run can be turned into psychological effects. As soon as COVID-19 emerged, it became an online trading content by which many groups or personal users in YouTube, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter released fake news for their business and financial profit. This affects on the mind of the people and create mass confusion and panic. It
Bhushali,
affects
just one
on
more
the
minute. Bhushali, just one more minute. Hurry up.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. It affects on the children. It affects on the older people. It affects on the general public also. As we have already seen that in these days we have a mental pressure or the so-called stress that is grasping us day by day. We can divide stress into two types: limited stress and unlimited stress. Limited stress brings positive result and helps us to complete a scheduled work in a given time. However, unlimited stress only produced negative results. The role of Jogo. Jogo can be the remedy for protect ourselves by strengthening our physical as well as mental health. Patanjali was the traditional founder of the Jogo system. Now the question is, what is the meaning of the Jogo? According to Patanjali, Jogo is the spiritual effort to attain perfection by the control of the body, mind, and the senses, and through right discrimination between Purusha and Prakriti. Yoga has the pragmatic approach, and also by practicing yoga we can control ourselves very efficiently, and one may attain Vivek Gyano that leads us to liberation. Yoga believes in God, and the main text is named as Yoga Sutra. Then I have discussed the Ashtango Yoga. Ashtango Yoga, a sound mind which resides in a sound body.
Please conclude, just conclude.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In conclusion, we can say in Indian ethics, the supreme end of the final goal of a human life, that is also called Purushartha, is the attainment of liberation or salvation or moksha. So for attainment of moksha, or to attain relief from the stressful life and to control ourselves, we have to practice Ashtanga Yoga in the rightful manner. If we try to eradicate the sufferings and try to relax ourselves, then it can be possible by following the path of yoga. A sound body will help to flourish a beautiful mind. A concentrated mind can only produce an effective result, and we can achieve concentration through yoga. In this pandemic period of COVID-19, a calm and stressful mind and a powerful body is very essential, and that will be achieved by exercising dhyana, asana, and pranayama. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bhushali. Just to remind you, Patanjali did not explore the technique of yoga. It was rather
Yes,
credit goes to the Buddhist monk.
Yes, sir.
Buddhist monk who discovered yoga as a practice, and Patanjali has marketed it. Patanjali has earned money by popularizing yoga as a practice. So it has brought yoga into market phenomenon. So credit.
Sir, Patanjali was the traditional monk, sir, who established yoga as a philosophy.
You see, you are referring to Ramdev's Patanjali.
No, sir.
Okay.
He is
Fine.
a guru, yoga guru, sir.
Prashanjit, please call the next person.
Yes, sir.
Thank
in
you,
the
sir.
meantime, Professor Rakesh Bhattacharya has joined us. We are delighted to have him. Next paper presenter is
Good afternoon, Professor Bhattacharya. Thank you, sir.
Professor Jyoti Datto. Can you hear me, Jyoti Datto?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hi, madam. Please
Yes,
start
sir.
your
Myself.
presentation.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to everyone. Myself, Jyoti Datta, guest lecturer of Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, Khidipur College, Kolkata. My topic is COVID-19 impact and the role of print media during the pandemic. Print media has been playing a crucial role in spreading awareness among the people. Citizens are interested in health-related news, update in knowledge, seeking information on the disease, their prevention, diagnosis, treatment, nutrition, mediation, and other factors related to the health. The newspapers are dishing out information about the disease and also about the measures taken by the central and the state government to contain the spread of the infection and the lockdown. It also helped in promoting hygiene habit among the people. Role of print media in intensifying effort to contain the COVID-19. I will be discussing here the role of newspaper. First, reduction of stigma, prejudice, discriminations and inequalities, effective health communication for adaptation of sustainable preventive measures and curtailing misinformation. Point number 3, effective strategy for helping individuals in dealing with the social and physical distancing. Correct and reliable information for the government, dissemination of do's and don'ts to save infection and panic about the disease from escalating further. Information about symptoms, cures available for coronavirus. Now, next slide I will be discussing the challenges for print media operation during the COVID-19. Unfortunately, the Indian print media has been one of the most severely affected due to the COVID-19, which has now deep existential crisis across the country with a significant decline in the readership and also due to the dwindling of the advertisement and serious disruption in circulation of newspaper and magazine. Different media houses are forced to take extreme steps. What are the extreme steps? I will be discussing heavy loss to the vendors, ad revenues hit as there was no advertising flow. In the week of the country lockdown, uncertainty over the reach of the newspaper to readers, Times Group started lighting their versions. Circulation dips. Circulation has gone down because of the few takers. Newspaper makes fervent pleas to the readers that coronavirus cannot be transmitted to paper. Editions see a major digital push. Cancellation of the supplementary pages, salary cuts at the print media, print newspapers. Now, what are the stimulus that has been sought by the newspapers? India has the second largest market for newspapers in the world. Indian Newspaper Society (INS) estimated that the industry suffered 4,000 to 4,500 crore in March and April. NIS has sorted a 50% increase in the advertising rates from the Government Bureau of Outreach Communication as well as 20% increase in the budget spent for print media. Urged the government to immediately announce a 2 years holiday for newspaper establishment and increase in the official ad rates and spending on the sector. Thereby we can see that the newspaper will always accept, like, it's the only source of information, the authentic source of information has been severely affected by this pandemic. People were in chaos or people were in utmost seriousness whether we should take or accept newspapers. Various housing societies declined to accept newspaper. Unprecedented crisis has been noticed even by the top players like Times Group, Indian Express Group, Hindustan Groups, Business Standards and others are also to be mentioned. My presentation is very small. That's how I want to conclude. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Jyoti, for completing your arguments very concisely and sharply. Prosenjit, please call the next person.
Yes, next paper presenter is Mr. Ovik Gui. Mr. Ovik Gui. Mr. Ovik Gui, probably he is not here.
Gui and I are jointly.
Oh, probably is. Ovik Gui and probably Shoykot Chatterjee. Joint paper.
Yes.
Okay. Then we are moving away. Professor Arindam Devnath. Professor Arindam Devnath.
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Hello.
Yes, you are audible.
Good afternoon, everyone. My paper title is Socio-Cultural Effect on Post-COVID World, Post-COVID Scenario towards the New World. COVID-19 is an unprecedented medical disaster. It is a gruesome attack on human life, affected almost every country in the world. Even this deep impact have seen in economic, political, social, and humanities cultural aspects. It affected various countries equally.
We should understand social and cultural aspects of human depends upon reciprocal and interrelated relations. This pandemic insisted a vicious fear in human mind, which prevented them from social and cultural gathering. How this infectious disease is spreading, that is still now in its investigation. Its vaccine is not invented till now, so its fear factor in socio-cultural arena is dangerous. Society is like a bowl of water which is integrated in every part. So if socio-cultural arena is affected, its every part will be degraded and destabilized. COVID-19 is going to a permanent effect in our society, which cannot be erased from our society never. It will affect education, culture, literature of every sphere of life and society. It has been already started some articles, some writings, and some topic of related to topic of coronavirus. At the time of fighting with COVID-19, to arrange it, to erase it from society, we have to learn how to cope with it, as the fighting with the COVID-19 is long battle. The medical disaster, medical disaster is affecting social communication mediums like club, cultural organization, informal groups are dissolving now. Fear from COVID-19, the fear psychosis, is inserted a deep root of suspicion in human mind, which is quite unnatural. And this type of fear psychosis resists mankind to go out and mixing up with other people and social gathering. The government laid down strict policy ordinance which is related to social distancing, using of masks, etc. This type of medical emergency affected hugely by the child, the child and the youth. We cannot expect that pre-COVID and post-COVID society will be the same. Our society, social ability and the degrading now. Youth who are trying to seek a job, they are in direct depression. Take the example of students whose exams are postponed or cancelled. They are also in doubt which future is awaiting for them. This pandemic creating a disaster in the mankind creativity. Due to long-running lockdown and economic recession, many people loses their job, social ability, various job previous sector, especially unorganized sector, affected very loudly. Many issues like domestic violence, joblessness, depression, loneliness on rise. Even untouchability took a new form, like those who are affected by COVID-19, those who are fighting it are unaccepted by normal people. Doctors, nurses, medical staff are thrown away from their rented houses and locality. After all, government law and ordinance, people are still spreading. After all that government law and ordinance, people are still spreading hatred against affected people. The existence of society depends upon the procedure which tackle the problems of society. This existence of our society in this time of pandemic depends upon how we behave with the doctors, nurses and police and health workers. We should help to exercise their duty. This crucial time, if we detach the downtrodden and illiterate subaltern people from our society, then the base of the society will be weakened and fall down in near future. In this complicated time, if we want to keep the social gathering, then we have to think many ways.
Arundam, conclude, just conclude.
Yes, sir. During the plague pandemic in Europe, large number of people lost their lives and major chunk of people shifted from their native places to save their life. But ironically, we found the Renaissance in Europe came after this pandemic. So here also we can hope that after the bad phase of COVID-19, good day will come to the world. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Arindam. Please call the next person.
Okay, Orpita Pal, madam, can you hear me?
Yes.
Orpita Pal. Orpita Paul, madam. Hello. Orpita Paul.
Yeah, call the next person. She was here a few minutes back. Call the next person.
Okay. Srimati Manoshi Pandit. Manoshi Pandit. Madam,
Yeah,
are you?
Orpita has come.
Yes, sir. I'm here. Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay, Orpita, you
Good
begin.
afternoon, sir.
Okay, then Madam Orpita Pal, please start your deliberation.
Sir, Manushi Pandit. I'm Manushi Pandit, sir. I'm here.
Okay, then start your
Manoshi, you
deliberation.
wait. Orpita has come, so you will be speaking next.
Okay, madam,
Yes, sir.
please
Good
don't
afternoon, sir.
leave the meeting frequently. Don't leave the meeting. Okay, please, Orpita
Okay,
Pal,
sir.
madam. Start.
Sir, I am Manushi Pandit.
Manoshi, you
Wait.
wait. Orpita will present first and then you will present.
Okay, sir.
Where are you, madam Orpita Pal?
I can't hear Orpita. Yeah. Yes, talk. No, you are not. You are not audible. You are not audible.
Madam
then-
Urvit, you are not audible. Please disconnect your headphone and come directly. Please come directly. We are not able to listen you, ma'am. Sorry, we are still now, I think we are still now not listening you.
Probably headphone is not connected.
You see,
Yeah,
she's relying on a headphone which is not working and she is not listening.
Madam, please get rid of your headphone for the time being. Please.
detach the headphone from the mobile. Otherwise your voice will not caught by mobile, right? Please remove. Please remove. Come directly, madam. Remove from the phone. Remove from the phone and come directly.
Yeah, better.
Hello.
Yes. Yes,
Come
Orpita.
closer to the mouthpiece. Come closer to the mouthpiece. Benefit. That would be beneficial.
Yes, Professor Botopel, and he told Orpita speak without. It will be better. Orpita madam, please speak without any headphone.
Detach your headphone from the phone.
Why is she quite nervous? Madam, please speak
Okay, call the next person.
without any headphone. Without any headphone, you try to speak, madam, please. Without
Okay,
any headphone.
Madam Urpita Pal, please take your time. We are calling the next speaker. Have another headphone if possible. Take your time and arrange for the meeting. Manoshi Pandit. Please, Madam Manoshi Pandit.
Yes, sir. I have. Good afternoon, sir and everybody. Today, the title of my paper is Role of Corporate and NGOs in Tackling the COVID-19 Pandemic Situation in India. The corporate houses and different non-governmental organizations have been constantly engaging in combating the COVID-19 situation in India. As a part of the CSR, that means
No, is it all right? No.
Madam, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you, Madam Manushi Pandit. We can't hear you.
There too, it seems to be a technical glitch.
Right.
Madam Manushi Pandit, you are not at all audible.
I think yes. A connection has lost, right? Something.
শ্রীকান্ত দা, আমাদের ফার্স্ট সেশন তো কোনো প্রবলেমই হয়নি, বলুন। ইট ওয়াজ কানেকশন লস্ট। ওকে শ্রীকান্ত দা, ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ।
Manushi Pandit left, yes.
So better Professor Ghosh,
Is
please
Orpita
invite the
ready?
next. Yes, please.
Is Orpita ready or Manushi Pandit have joined again?
Yes, sir. Other than that, the companies have taken precautionary measures for most of their employees to work from home and other flexibilities. Along with the corporate houses, the NGOs have been untiringly trying to help migrant laborers and other affected poor people in their own way, apart from governmental measures. When hundreds of migrant workers are coming back to their native home by working, they even don't have minimum money to feed themselves. Our Indian NGOs are helping them in their own way apart from governmental measures. Delhi-based NGOs Ganj has initiated Rahat COVID-19 program to help all these affected persons by providing rations and all essential commodities. The Ministry of Home Affairs of India has already issued instruction to all states to utilize the service of NGOs to provide food and shelters to the migrant workers. NGOs like the MCKS Foods for Hungry Foundation, the Zomato Funding India, the Give Indian, the Seeds, and the Uday Foundation, the Crucian Foundation, etc. have been providing food or ration and center for hiring laborers and distributing free shops, sanitizer, masks and medicine, etc. to those who are not able to buy. NGOs are also helping to those other entirely persons who are abandoned by their families and friends. They are also collecting donations from the middle class and rich people who want to become a part of these philanthropic activities. All of them are trying to make India unite hunger less and working with government to help those who need it the most. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. May we now invite Orpita Paul?
Sir,
Hello,
can you
Orpita.
hear me now?
So,
Yes.
Orpita, you talk straight without using any headphone, okay? You're
Yes, sir.
audible
Yes,
now.
sir.
Okay,
Okay,
begin.
Please,
Thank you,
please
sir.
do.
Okay, sir. Hello, everyone. My name is Orpita Pal, a guest lecturer of sociology, Siliguri Mohila Mahavidyalaya. The title of my paper is COVID-19 Social Exclusion and Marginalization. What is social exclusion? Social exclusion is a form of discrimination. It occurs when people are wholly or partially excluded from participating in the economic, social, and political life of their community based on their belonging to a certain social class, category, or group. In India, social exclusion occurs on the basis of identities including caste, ethnicity, religion, gender, and disability. The outcome of social exclusion is that affected individuals or communities are prevented from participating fully in the economic, social, and political life of the society in which they live. Social exclusion at the individual level results in an individual's exclusion from meaningful participation in society. The meaning of the word marginalization is the treatment of a person, group, or concept as insignificant or peripheral. The dictionary meaning of marginalization is the process of making a group or class of people less important or relegated to a secondary position. COVID-19 pandemic situation and social exclusion. Globally, people of Chinese or Asian descent have overwhelmingly been the target of discrimination and social exclusion. On January 31st in Sheffield and in Berlin, February 5th in New York, February 7th in Toronto, and many other cases in Australia and Europe, incidents of discrimination took place against Chinese women wearing face masks. At the same time, in China, many fear contact with people from Wuhan or Hubei province. The stigmatization of people from Hubei is associated with the social exclusion process. For instance, in Yunnan province, a popular tourist destination that hosted millions of tourists in January 2020, hotels turned away pre-booked guests from Wuhan or Hubei, regardless of their health condition. Across the country, both urban and rural communities have set up checkup points to block visitors from Wuhan and Hubei without a medical check. COVID-19 and social exclusion in India, few incidents. A 26-year-old businessman and his family of 4 from New Delhi went into self-quarantine after a doctor he had visited that month tested positive for COVID-19. Even though the businessman himself tested negative, his misery had just got started. Gates to his home in the colony were sealed soon after the home under quarantine notice by the district authorities went up. By the next morning, street vendors stopped selling fruits and vegetables to them. Their cleaning staff stopped coming. Social stigma is a major issue in identifying a COVID patient. Since the spurt in the number of cases, people have stopped coming to hospital, fearing social stigma and public shaming in their locality, and instead prefer to stay at home. And when they do turn up, it's too late. Professor and senior surgeon at SSKM Hospital, Diptendra Sarkar, told PTI. In Goyarkata town in the district of Jalpaiguri in West Bengal, neighbors staged a protest in front of the house of a young man returning home from Uttar Pradesh demanding to be taken to the quarantine center. The locals also set up a bamboo barricade in front of his house. After intervention by the police, the locals were agreed to keep the boy at home. Another incident happened in Damdam Mall Road in Kolkata. A young woman's parents were died due to corona and she was also tested positive. Neighbors posted COVID-19 posters in front of her house so that no one could come in contact with that girl. A young woman came to her mother for a day before her test report came positive. She was accused of evicting her mother for the crime against the landlord. Conclusion: the fear of unknown diseases is part of human nature, especially when they are deadly and highly infectious. However, it is paramount to recognize the discriminatory behaviors that accompany fear, as they damage not only the socio-cultural fabric in the long run, but they also compromise present efforts to contain the disease. Indian government is trying to make a continuous effort to reduce the stigma and social exclusion, such as in the form of television ads from the health department and a small audio recording which we all hear before the ring whenever we try to call someone, which clearly states our fight is with the disease, not with the infected person. While those efforts to eliminate discrimination and social exclusion are a good start, further measures are still required, particularly post-pandemic. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Arpita, for presenting a focused paper. So, Prashanjit, is there anyone left?
Yes, sir. Only Mr. Sutanu Pal Choudhury and Dr. Kobita Hajra would be called just for the last time. But a couple of words to Orpita Pal, madam. Madam,
Yes, sir.
your paper has no title in our official record. Please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I apologize. Yes, sir.
Please put the title in the chat box in the written
Yes.
form.
Okay, okay. Sir. Okay.
The next.
And Madam Orpita, on behalf of organizing committee, also communicate to you to send
Yes, sir.
your title, but unfortunately, no cooperation from your end. Thank you.
No, sir. I called you back that day and said that I have sent you a fresh mail that with the title of my abstract.
But after completing the all editing portion or etc., you send your abstract form. So unfortunately, it was not incorporated. Thank you. Okay.
Okay. Next.
Okay. Mr. Sutanu Pal Choudhury.
Is it there?
Sutanu. Are you there, Mr. Sutanu Pal Choudhury? Mr. Sutanu Pal Choudhury.
There's a lot of confusion. He has probably gone to other session. Who is next?
Okay. Nobody is left as such. Only Dr. Kobita Hazra. Are you in this session?
No, she has gone to the other session.
Okay. Then we are done with it.
So it's good that 11 papers are presented amidst confusion of session 3 and 7, session 4, which are interchanged at the last
Yes.
minute. The organizer, frankly speaking, should not have done this. Because people do not frequently open their mail anyway. We began with the paper by a student called Shoykot Chatterjee. It was a joint paper. Talked about the way social media spreaded fake news, and people died because of consuming hydrochloroquine. Then a Photoshop picture being copied by used by Amitabh Bachchan.
Yes,
So the presentation talked about the way fake news dominated the scenario, and I think during the last 2 days we have been talking about the way data manipulation and news manipulation has gone up. If you look into the trajectory of fake news, all this did not start with COVID. It started earlier, long back. Probably in late 80s, people have started noticing the use of fake news and manipulation of, particularly by the ruling people who are there in the power, who are in the politicians. They started using it fast. There was a McNamara report where the US president used media for falsification, the way Mr. Trump used it, the way many other rulers used it. So anyway, all big houses, good paper, you should write it down. And then what to believe and what not, quite a critical question, nobody knows. But I think persons like Rajesh Dash and Professor Botapel, they are there, they will be commenting later on. There is a paper by Shruti Bhange on the role of civil society, and the paper by Manushi Pandit on the role of NGO and corporate houses. They noted down the positive role. Shruti Bhange in particular noted down the way food, sanitation, sanitization, community kitchen, overcrowding, hospitalizations, all these are being done by the civil society there. But the way theoretically we talk about the society, civil society, the notion of civil society is being critically discussed by social scientists. I think there is a danger in using the term civil society. You may rather call it a community, local community. Local community is a sort of neutral term instead of using the term civil society. So I would ask you to be cautious using a term called civil society. Then there is a paper by T.K. Rai, Problems of Migrant Workers. Yeah, there are problems. The problems are there, still there. One of the reasons for this is that they are invisible. We did not ever consider migrant workers as a sort of asset for India, despite so many presenters talking about the assets being created by migrant workers. We haven't thought of the role that migrant workers, the informal sector workers play in building the cities, in maintaining the cities. India is cheap, India is manageable, cities are livable because of the work that migrant workers in particular and informal sector workers in particular they play. So we often forget that they are invisible. And a friend of mine, Mr. P. Sainath, who is a journalist who writes often frequently, he says even those entrepreneurs, businessmen who relied on the migrant workers, they forgot about their plights, and only when they started feeling the shortage of laborer, when the unlock began, they started crying for them. So this is the double standard that normally they play. Srimanti brought in the issue of water challenges. Well, I was thinking about Africa in particular because I saw certain videos where Africans are facing water crisis, crisis of drinking water, not to even wash water. So I thought of places like Maharashtra, places like there are places where there is acute shortage of water, dry areas where probably this prescription of washing hand with soap does not really work. And I just saw some migrant workers working 10, 15, 100 kilometers with a bottle of water. And if you ask them to spend a little bit to wash their hand, it is almost suicidal for them. So obviously, this hand washing bring in this class dimension of people who are deprived of the basic necessity of water even. Then the tourism industry, yes, tourism industry is going to suffer. It is going to suffer for years to come. Many people will become unemployed. They have become unemployed. We have had tourism as taught as a subject in many universities. I don't know how many students these disciplines would get in years to come. because the whole sector is going to suffer because of the fear psychosis of pandemic staying for at least 4 to 5 years more. Now, you all know that even if the vaccine is being discovered, I don't know whether it will ultimately be discovered or not. Even if it is discovered, it will take at least 4 to 5 years to reach each and every person. That has been the story of many other vaccines that we have used. Vaishali Majumdar has correctly talked about the socio-psychological issues, but she should have concentrated basically on certain issues instead of talking about social issues, psychological issues, and then came to yoga. So it created a lot of time for her. It took a lot of time for her to present her paper. As I said in the beginning, that you should be concise in your paper presentation because there is a time limit given, and you should be focused, which probably many paper presenters have done. Then Jyoti Datta has talked about the print media, the economic losses. We normally do not think that people working in the press, they are losing their jobs. Yes, it is happening. They are losing their jobs. There's a job curtailment. There are many other kind of things that is happening also in the media houses. In fact, each and every segments of population, starting with industrialists to the downtrodden marginalized section, they are suffering. COVID has universalized one thing: rich and poor, everybody is suffering. So this is something that Arindam Dabna talked about, the social, cultural, economic changes, a sort of broad paper. I would against ask Arindam to concentrate only on either social or cultural or economic. Even economic consequences are huge. Concentrate on one aspect of, say, job loss, for instance. There is a good paper by Orpita Pal on social exclusion and marginalization. But the way the term social exclusion is used, there is a theoretical, I have written on social exclusion. The way it is used, I think your paper gives a different meaning of social exclusion. We are treating our neighbors as sort of infected person. That kind of fear and psychosis and distances, which probably, social distances has contributed to other kinds of distances. So I would request you not to use the term exclusion. Marginalization, of course, you can use, but instead of social exclusion, you can pick up other kinds of coterminous words which are much more useful in explaining the way actually we are segregating and polarizing. So segregation is probably the perfect word. Polarization is the perfect word. There are different kinds of polarizations happening, different kinds of segregations happening on the basis of class, on the basis of religion. Like migrant workers are being segregated. Why should at all we call them parijayi? Why should at all call them migrants? How many times a person would become refugee in his own country? You are making them refugees. How many times, tell me, one person would become a refugee? So these are all viable questions. They are all invisible. Informal sectors are invisible. And corporate houses, there are questions also. Manushi Pandit has presented a paper, even though there are communication gap in between, which is the normal part. We have to accept that communication may differ due to technological input. Despite that, some good papers are presented. And on the whole, we have learned from the youngsters about different aspects. I congratulate everybody for coming with the paper, and I would ask them to concentrate again on the paper and write it beautifully so that it becomes a printable issue. May I now request Professor Bottomwell to comment if he is there?
Sir, your audio is not clear.
Audio is not
Professor Ghosh's intervention yesterday. Now you can hear me, Rajesh?
Yeah, sir. Yeah, now it's clear.
The same thing, headphone. So 2-3 things that came to me because first time I was sitting in a seminar on pandemic as such, and a lot of good intentioned scholars are presenting. One is, and particularly from the media perspective, one that Professor Ghosh has been emphasizing on data manipulation in the sense of fake news, misinformation, disinformation, wrong information. Now, I just finished last summer a paper which I have not presented as yet, and this is on fake news. Fake news has been part of not just about statistical details about what is fake, what is not. As, for example, alt news and others do, they fact check whether the news is fake or right. But on the serious note on what is a fake news, what is its philosophical status, there are certain debates, because not wrong news is not fake news. Wrong news, suppose I give you wrong news, that not it can be righted. Somebody can say this is wrong, but only when the wrong news is said with a purpose of deceiving you. Deceitful wrong news may be termed as a fake news. Similarly, misinformation is not fake news. People can Similarly, journalists can write a wrong piece of information, but that is not fake news. So fake news, one of the core definitional issue, which makes a news a fake news, information a fake information, is deceit. Deceit, where I want to deceive. For example, I followed 2012 onwards the way Mamata Banerjee has been portrayed as a Muslim lady. It's a completely, it is in order to deceive a section of people who may, and then it's followed by other kind of informational areas. So that is one area. And how is COVID, or how fake news has been used in the COVID situation? So that is an area that needs to be worked out, a serious work. And in this, Bengal should be a major, Bengal intellectuals located there can play a major part, because a whole range of people from Bengal working in almost all major states in the country. Rajasthan, Kerala, Maharashtra, Delhi, is a large chunk of Bengali laborers, and quite often they have caught in this trap of, and on top of it, the issue of Tabligh came in, where a large number of people from Bengal were participating. I thought very few, you pointed out, but very few papers came, and this could be used. The second, the migrant issue has come because of this COVID, but sociologists like Dipankar Gupta and others have been actually telling us, and sociologists, for example, your own colleagues, Sarith Bhaumik and all, when they were working on labor, labor was an issue in 80s, but it suddenly went down as an academic issue. It should come back now, because I must tell you, in Rajasthan, for example, the person who was looking after this COVID-related issues of labor, she told me that there are around 50,000 people from Bengal in Rajasthan, and they were desperate to send them because they were also homeless in most cases. They have Aadhaar card and everything there, but they do not have any home. So once the lockdown began, they were almost homeless, and they needed to go back to Bengal. Bengal only home otherwise. One does not know whether they have a home in Bengal or not, but they were Bengali. Now, this kind of situation needs good, serious scholarly work. Otherwise, these people will remain homeless in a country where I don't know whether they will have a country of their own or not in future. So this is one, the second issue. The third, which I personally was very intrigued and interested, is the way Mamata Banerjee and similarly other women leaders have handled the crisis situation than what the men leaders have handled across the world, across the country. But the most beautiful part of it is that I have been following all her Navarno meetings. Now, some scholars should actually study those meetings and the processes of those meetings, and what happens, what kind of decisions are taken, and what is the process through which those decisions are taken, and how they are implemented, and how is the Chief Minister dealing with the center as well as her own districts. So this is one part which involves public administration and others. The most important for me was the whole live telecast of the Navanno meeting, the Chief Minister's meeting. This would be fantastic if some people from their visual media background could work. What is the message that has gone in to people? Has it given confidence to people to work? Has it given a different kind of message? The kind of all-round decisions were taken from Sundarban's fishing department to Bardhaman's agricultural issues. Every issue was discussed and this decision was taken in front of the officers. Range and deepened democracy is a question that needs to be put very deep. I learned till I hear this. Rajesh, you.
Sir, again you are not audible, sir. Sir.
The link problem.
Yes.
No, I can hear you.
Yeah, link has gone.
Did you hear my last?
No,
Yeah,
the last.
that Navanno telecast.
That is what I wanted to say. That Navanno telecast of the Navanno meeting was so exciting because it opens up a new vista. People are interested in administration, people are interested in how leadership works, people are interested in how democracy works. One could combine with visual media, visual effect of media, and study those meetings, live meetings, and their effect on people. So this was to me a very fascinating issue that needs to be discussed by scholars there. Thank you so much, Professor Ghosh.
Okay, thank you, Professor Bottabal, for your comments. Rajesh, anything to add?
Oh, no. Actually, valedictory speaker, Mr. Jayanto Ghoshal, is already joined in session 1. So it will be better being a chairperson. You conclude the session and all we hear, the Bottabals and you and the co-chairman. It will be better all we join in session 1 for the valedictory session.
So let me conclude this session.
Actually, sir, wind up the lots of window regarding the Navanno meeting, the body language, media connotation, everything. But I hope already we are late. So better, over to Chairman, sir, just to conclude and go for the valedictory session.
Sure. So let me conclude by saying that instead of a sort of mono dialogue through Mann Ki Baat, I understand, I know what you are, I mean, you all understand, you are all literate people. Instead of a mono dialogue through Mann Ki Baat, let's go for an open dialogue through the kind of thing which Mamata Banerjee is doing or the kind of thing we are doing. Thank you very much. Let us join the valedictory session. Let us quit here and join the main session once again.
Thank you, sir.